Okay.
There you got something finished. Anybody else have anything right now this morning?
And I think
I have the dues notice from the Central Prairie RC&D, $500 for 2008, so I didn't.
Haven't been paid.
what did they do? What they do for us?
No idea.
Yeah, 76. Or 76.
Dan Curtis?
Curtis.
I'm not sure what that was.
Well, we listened to the windmill presentation.
Yeah, they've got a big one, a great bid, I see, paper up there, big convention.
Well, why don't we try them one more year, and if we don't see anything from it,
Did you
then
make a motion now?
I'll make a motion, we'll go ahead and pay the $500 dues to Central Prairie RC&D.
Second.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I wonder what RC&D stands for.
Rural
Community and-
Resource.
Oh, okay. Helps to read, doesn't it?
Right down below.
Okay. Is that the, big letters?
Anybody else have anything in?
I have
Anything else right now? We're recessed.
I spoke to Embark about the extra phone line and redid the package. We're now going to be saving about $600 a year instead of $420, which I initially wanted. So that's changed. This was brought to my attention again. I know that previously it was paid out of, it was thought out of general fund. Nita and I talked about this. Apparently it has to be paid out of the budget. I don't know.
That's their insurance for on the fire trucks, isn't it? Is that what it is?
No, that's personal
Oh,
insurance.
personal, okay.
Accidental and
We
death.
got the insurance, we got the trucks, too.
Yeah, Eck has the
Yes.
vehicle.
Oh, I actually didn't see this, okay.
Right.
Did you pay this in?
Out of fire department.
The miscommunication was some personnel thought it was paid out of the general fund.
Okay.
Others thought it was paid out of this and that, so let you aware that we'll be paying that out of the fire fund.
See, originally Jason thought that he could use the interest off that CD,
Yeah.
but that only amounts to like $200 a year, so.
So we just roll that back in.
Well, they put the rates down now, they're not near as interesting as it was before, so.
This here is the DEA form. I spoke to Dr. Farmer about, I got his signature off on it so we can purchase Class 2 scheduled drugs. I need to sign this, but I would like all of you, two of you to witness it.
Okay.
So, I also spoke to Dr. Farmer about redoing the drug issue. We spoke about that earlier. He's on board for that. Probably keep it out of the hospital. Separate. Just to keep our checks and balances in line. Spoke previously about equipment that was needed on the fire truck. Here are a couple of the bids for the loose equipment that have come in so far. Guess I don't know. Waiting for one more bid. This has multiple equipments on it, and they're basically, the only difference is the engine type for the positive pressure ventilation fan, a couple of things, so that the number you see there at the end, the tally, is not correct. That's including everything. We don't need everything on there.
Well, it doesn't look like this would add up to that figure anyhow, would it?
I'm sorry?
So it doesn't look like this would add up to this.
No. Because if you look under
Just
this,
glance it out.
on the front, excuse me, there's a couple PPV fans, 16-inch, 18-inch, one with that Honda motorhome that Tecumseh and Briggs and Stratton, so they're all in there. So the numbers at the very end do not jive. So. This is, we talked about the portable cascade system. I'm hoping to get the grant for that. Hopefully talk to the USDA rep today or tomorrow about the grants. But for the portable cascade system, there's kind of a figure that's been coming around. I'm actually found a place that would actually be less expensive than that. That gives us an idea. On our training last week, we had Weiss come out and bring a Hurst tool. And we were the second generation Hurst tool, so all the guys could play with that, see what we like. The Hurst power unit and hoses are leaking on this truck, so I wanted to see what it cost to replace that. They like their Hurst. So, I'm also looking for a Helmatro. All of our equipment, pretty much, in the county is Helmatro, as opposed to Hurst. So if I can replace just the power unit and the hoses, as opposed to all the tools.
This is to overhaul
Well, that's all new tool.
it? Oh, all new tools, okay.
And once again, that bid has multiple style tools in it, so that number doesn't jive also.
Well, yeah, how many different companies make those? I know that.
About 6.
Thought there was-
There's Helmatro, Hurst, Rescue Tech, there's a whole bunch of different styles. Helmatro and Hurst are the top dogs, if you will.
And are those, we got 2 of them, don't we now?
We actually have
3?
3.
Yeah, we have a little one. But are they all
I'm
Hurst?
sorry, 4.
4?
4. The one in Maxville is the newest unit out there.
Are they all Hurst then?
They're Helmatro.
Okay.
And there is one out in...
I think that's why we stayed with that, because if you had stuff we could swap back and forth, you needed to, rather than buy 2 different
and that's
brands.
the reason I wanted to give you a bid on this is to kind of see ballpark of where Hurst was. I don't really plan on going with Hurst. They do have nice equipment. They have a new quick connection where you can actually disconnect the tool while being stored in power, which is a nice feature, but the money doesn't warrant that. So we'll probably end up looking at Helmatro also. And if nothing else, replacing the power unit and the hoses. Because the tools themselves are still okay. But I would like to have a backup unit if we can get grant money for that.
So you're going to grant money purchases with them, try to.
I know the USDA grant money, we can purchase these with that. He hasn't given me really a figure on what kind of grant money we're looking at. I know that what he spoke to me about as far as redoing the building, there's not enough money in the grant monies for that. It's minimal, couple, maybe 20, 25,000.
It appears that even state level and what federal too, there's going to be kind of slim pickings this year as far as money available. It looks like.
It's very slim. So, I do have that seminar coming up this weekend on the grant writing. The gentleman who is doing it he's been with FEMA and the governments doing grant writing for almost 20 years. He knows the tricks on what they look for and what a red flag them to really pick out. So.
These aren't the final bids.
No, this is just proposal.
No, these
you
are just
said.
proposal
proposal
bids.
you
I
said.
haven't, just getting bids out to see what kind of numbers we're looking at.
50-some thousand.
Well, and that's the big one with the Hurst tool. That's pretty much gonna get kicked out. I just wanted to see where he's at on his numbers. So when we get a bid from Helmatro, then we can compare. And I don't plan on going with First Realty. So. I was rather shocked when I seen this number myself. So. These are pretty much the same on this bid. The tools on this and tools on this.
okay.
This is from a different company. From First Duke. These come in a little bit cheaper, but these include shipping. So it's kind of a wash. And then, fairly quiet week, which is good, I suppose. That's about it.
Okay. We need to go in an executive session for 15 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel.
Your second.
Second.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You want to-
I heard rumor that there was a doctor filling in mostly at the clinic.
At the present time, but after the 5th of January, there'll be a full-time position.
And he is a good,
Is he a DO, MD?
MD, internal medicine.
he spent years and years at the Hutchinson Clinic.
Oh, nice. Because I went over there and went through the clinic and checked that out and seen how that was laid out. They said there was a doctor coming in.
Yes,
part-time.
Docs Who Care have been staffing it for the last month or so.
Dr. Brown's been doing that out in Dodge City.
Is it?
That's what I was told. Dodge City and someplace else.
But we'll have a full-time, we'll have two full-time positions at the hospital. Okay.
Also, we replaced a couple lights on the trucks. The light bar on my truck was not sealing, leaking. Apparently that was purchased twice before. The first time the new one was bought, it was put in by themselves and was fried. Then the bar that was purchased after that was a used light bar. It has condensation, it's rusted out on the inside. Purchased a new light bar. That light bar is going to clean it, we're going to reseal it. It's going on the brush truck. Some of the other lights that are coming off are going on they're going to be cleaned out and put on it. So we're in the process of trying to utilize all the lights. There's 2 lights on the brush truck now, here, 424. It will come off and we'll put on another vehicle. So we're trying to move
Make
the
it more
lights-
visible.
Make it more visible. So we've got some lights in, and the lights that are coming off other vehicles, we're trying to utilize them better as far as the visibility aspect goes. So that's in the works.
Visibility.
I
is
still
helpful.
feel bad about that.
Well, I think that it wasn't, they're not really that visible coming at you until you get to right close to it.
I was,
So,
You know, could have gotten a ticket.
I should have. I mean, I just didn't know.
but hopefully we'll take care of that issue.
I'd have
soon.
cried if I'd have got stopped.
I couldn't see it. It's their fault. And that's,
I
actually, it
tried.
is our fault, technically, I guess, so.
Okay,
All right.
all right, thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Kevin.
Tax roll adjustment, I'll go ahead and make the motion, we do these adjustment, tax abatement.
Second.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I have to make a little trip here
Okay.
quick.
We'll recess for a while.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're back in session. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I don't know what the term would be.
Basically,
We're going into
Go ahead, executive.
executive session to discuss the possible acquisition of an interest in realty.
So said.
So-
Is there a second?
A second. Whatever Joe said.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna show this map to you.
Oh, okay.
Morning, Jim.
Morning. Where are you
Morning,
be
Bill.
well?
Good morning, Lane.
Carl?
Right here.
Okay.
How's
I might fax something down for you to sign.
Okay.
Long way to go.
Okay, I guess we got a report on what it's gonna involved and take?
Well, people I've talked to, I've talked to Edwards County, and I've talked to Pawnee County. And both of those are still old prime and seal roads that they built up asphalt on, so they really, I mean, it's really not too much cost comparison. They didn't really have any cost. But Butler County over here has a residential deal they took over. And for their, on their road was, they had 0.6 miles of road in a residential deal. And it was, to maintain asphalt only, they come up with $1,758 per year. Of course, that's not kind of a road you'd have with trucks and whatnot, so I mean.
Yeah, that's not very much, I don't think it.
No, but that's
Traffic
only
would be heavy
0.6
on-
miles, and so you take that times 3 on this deal. And that's, you're basically talking about cars and pickups, so on trucks,
You have
you dang near have to double or
to
triple.
double or triple it.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you get anything out of Topeka or anything, what they?
They have people on vacation and whatnot, it's still in process. I don't know if they're, I don't know how close they break down their numbers, like if it's, you know, from 281 to K19 on theirs, and then they run it out through, they have contractors do so much, I mean, they don't do a whole lot of patching.
So usually they contract for like what they did on 50 from Maxville to.
The overlays.
Yeah, all the, well, I
Yeah,
think
it's all
they call that rehabilitation, well, it depends on what they're doing, with
Yeah.
rehabilitation. So their maintenance costs are right, and that just depends on whether, you know, you're talking about just the maintenance on the asphalt, or you're talking about the mowing, you're talking about snow removal, you know, just what all this is gonna entail. There's so many variables.
Right.
And I even talked to the engineer, and he says, oh my gosh. He says,
Don't
you're
get so
talking
technical.
about a complex problem here, and I said, I understand that. So I would say anywhere from 75 to 12,500 a year. And then it depends on what kind of seal you're gonna put on it, you know, at some point.
Of course, some years it's gonna take more than the other years too, but just average it out probably some, you know, if you.
Mhm. You know, if they develop, the road, I mean, they may get a heck of a good road and they don't develop any rutting problems, so they, you know, they've developed rutting problems within a 2-year period. There's just so many unknowns.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that's the best I can do.
Understand. I will, you can't, you don't have the well, the road's gonna be, those roads they put in, but how well it's built is gonna be a lot
There's,
different.
you know, the base on that thing's gonna be tough to really,
Pretty critical.
really good base.
Yeah, pretty critical. And I did talk to Pratt County, and they did talk to Barber County, and they both got to, just through putting in, Pratt County put that 2.5 miles
Yeah.
in over to the ethanol plant. Barber County just got through putting in a stretch of road down into the gym line. And both of these had, one of them had 8.5 inches and one of them had 9 inches of asphalt into them. And they both run $80 per mile. That was the initial
course, they
cost,
haven't
that's not the,
yeah.
not the
Right.
maintenance
I
side.
haven't had them long enough to do any maintenance
Yeah,
costs on them, so.
and that's a different boat because they're a county unit, they're not county townships, so both of them,
Yeah.
those, they're their roads anyway.
Well, that's all the state and county go together with it.
I think that was, yeah, that, and then I think they had some general obligation bonds on that, but it did come in under the budget. They had originally budgeted, our cost estimate on it was 2.7, and I think he said it's coming in at $1.6 million. So it is a little bit under a million, really.
That's unusual.
Mm-hmm. But that was 2 or 3 years ago, last year.
Of course, there's an ethanol plant, there's no traffic down there, so maybe it's gonna be really cheap.
Pretty
But
quiet.
I,
isn't it?
you know, wouldn't you assume though, but if you get an engineer to come in and do all the preliminaries and stuff, they will establish what it takes to have a good road bed.
That's what I understand.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And I'm sure, you know, it's sand
Yeah.
base, so I'm sure there's gonna have to be some rock or some other
Something.
aggregate hauled into it.
Something magic. Okay.
Carl said.
Well, I was just doing some thinking, I guess. 'Cause I was,
I was scared.
Do we have seat belts?
You might want to get
okay, you might
it.
want to come up here. Okay, this is the section. Now, I'm no engineer and I'm no road person. But this is what we're talking, this is the Highway 281. From coming from here, going here, and then going back up the half mile to the driveway, right? Okay, this road, I mean, pretty well is pretty low. I mean, even majority of way, I mean, I think that would be a problem. The fields are even higher. I mean, you can't just cut in a ditch. But you guys own this quarter and this quarter. What would happen if you would give a 50 or 40 foot road right away and build it from here on your, just north, and just you wouldn't have a turn, plus you'd cut the cost of the third. And actually, if you go out and look at this road, majority of this right here is actually higher than this field, and this is higher than this field. And it would run away, and I'm thinking you could put ditches in and keep the snow and so forth, it would actually run off instead of running onto the road here.
You're talking about mile north, right?
No, half a mile.
Half mile. Right. You're talking about only 50 or 40 foot, they're gonna tell you you get at least probably an 80 to 100.
Okay, up here,
Yes, anytime you have a road, they're gonna tell you 80 to 100.
okay,
Particularly when you have the truck traffic.
And the ditches.
okay. But you wouldn't have the turning, plus you'd cut the cost of the third. And I know you got, I know it wouldn't be it would have to come from your part. On it. But then it would just come here, they would just drive right in straight to it then. I think myself, I think it'd be better. This is gonna be hard to keep the,
Oh, yeah.
keep everything off, it's too low.
Anytime you, well, yeah, you've got some, of course, they're gonna do your drainage anyway for pipes and, no, I mean, that's all the engineering.
There's gonna have to be a lot of dirt moved.
Water's the biggest enemy of asphalt to begin with. Why was the road built originally over there? I wonder?
Section lines.
Is
I
section,
guess
it's
that's-
not a section.
You guys are paying a third of it. I mean, you're paying whatever you're paying.
This
Yeah.
is,
That would
yeah,
have a
he's
third
talking
of the
about
price.
that.
Yeah, probably at least, it might cut more, because this is higher.
It's a lot higher, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a lot higher.
Now, I know they're hauling in right here, manure and so forth, but it would still, I think, and that's natural, that's just a natural, no snow would come on that. I mean, even early over to here.
Yeah, you got some costs, I mean, you'd have costs with growing out the trees.
But that's not his, that's not theirs.
This quarter isn't?
In other words, this road that Carl proposes would basically lie entirely south of the half section.
That's right, because they own the whole sort of south half. The only disadvantage you guys would have would be on this irrigation. And I don't know technology-wise if you can, I know you can turn the gun off, but can you turn one section off?
Well, I mean, it's
Or
not
just
that hard to
everywhere.
alter that,
But I was just thinking maintenance-wise for the county, plus this would take the township totally out of the picture. They would just deed the land to the county, to the road right-of-way, and
The
then.
fancy word is dedicate.
Okay, dedicate the land. And then I just think it would be easier to, I think it'd be cheaper for the county too.
Well, I think you
I
can
just
make
think
a better
too much
base
water.
there than you can on the one that's there.
yeah. It's probably true. Getting ditches and drainage would be easier.
It'd be impossible on this one almost, I mean,
Well, it'd probably be costly, you know,
You got excavation and building the road
Because I
itself.
mean, isn't this a major drainage about right here,
There's a pretty good cut in there.
or is it here?
It's,
it's closer to.
And then there's one
that.
here.
There's another one on up there too.
It's worse over here.
There's a worse one right in here.
That's
yeah,
right
there.
right in there.
Yeah.
That's where
This
that
is
big
the high
hole is
point.
in
Yeah.
the road.
I mean, when you cross over that hill, it gets bad right here.
They've
But
got
the whole length of this, the fields are higher than the road.
Yeah. And you're gonna have to put a lot of dirt in there to get that built up, and that's gonna take a while to settle down. If you ever get it settled down.
I was scared when you said you'd been thinking, but that might be.
We all get scared.
They were afraid of us. Believe me, you weren't alone.
So here you're talking a mile, right? Whereas this way it's a mile and a quarter,
And a half.
half.
Yeah.
And I think
And
2
you gotta
weeks ago,
turn.
we were concerned about those trucks
That
tearing
corner
that
anyhow,
corner
yeah.
up, that
Yeah.
corner up.
You'd have a straight shot in there.
You wouldn't have any turning on the asphalt.
It'd be on the state's asphalt.
Yeah.
The only
Well, the only turning you
right
got is
there.
right there on the highway.
Is there any issue with the state
Well, that's
allowing
what-
another road that?
That's
That's
my
your
question,
question.
is whether KDOT would,
I
Do
don't
you
know
know?
why they would have an issue with that, because the only issue they'd have, I guess, would be, and it'd be the cost of whoever building the approach
road.
on their
Entrance.
right of way, I'm sure.
And that's a pretty
and there's not a driveway
level right
within
there.
Yeah, not
50
muzzle right
feet
there,
or
is it?
whatever.
There's no driveways in this mile at all.
I know that's what happened to McMillan. They
Well, 'cause a
wanted
lot of
to put one
times
in,
it
they
were-
couldn't because they're within so many feet of another driveway.
Well, they're just field entrances, they'll
Yeah.
allow a steel pipe, and on a regular road, they'll require concrete culvert sections in, to be put in there for longevity.
Yeah, yeah.
That really makes more sense to me than trying to build that other road out.
Yeah, that might be a great idea.
And no one's thought about this except Carl?
Don't tell him that.
He even thought of this last week.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, usually if somebody has some right of way to require, unless they're gonna offset the road a little bit.
And they would take the whole 100-foot or 80-foot off of that.
I don't think Carl's gonna want to do that.
Carl isn't gonna wanna give up 40 foot. For a
Well,
price, maybe.
Who owns that down there in the corner? That.
I don't know who owns that.
That would be Wayne Alper's trust, Lugamay.
Basically, a grass corner anyway, isn't
Yeah.
There's a small section cultivated, but it's
That's where
all.
those deers are. Those deer right there in the patch.
Yep.
And one dry hole.
But I thought it would save you guys money too, and the county in the maintenance.
Well, maintenance would probably be a lot less. Straight
Should be a
shot.
lot.
Hey, you wouldn't have as much road to maintain that.
And no turns.
And you'd have 1 mile to maintain instead of a mile and a half,
Still
maintain
there.
plus a turn.
You can have that map.
Oh, okay.
You can take that back with you.
Okay.
It'd probably be a lot less expensive on your part too, if you're gonna get all this through.
Yeah.
That's an idea.
Well, we need to take a look at that. I mean, that's a good idea, probably. This manure that's being piled in here is a temporary thing to do with the lagoon project, and we have to have that moved and dispersed in 6 months. Yeah.
Move it in there and then move it back out.
Well, cost-wise, you gotta have someplace to stockpile it.
How far do you haul up more it costs you?
Well, and it'll dry out a lot. I mean, it'll be,
Well, you still did composting up there?
well, we've tried and I think we're probably gonna try again. Merlin keeps wanting to do that, but it's, fertilizer prices coming down isn't helping. And there's some problems in composting with the sand in the soil. I mean, it's not as easy as if we didn't have the sand, yeah. But it's a.
That'd be a solution to a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good product. It's there's not very many people that have the equipment to spread it. So there's some issues yet, but we're gonna try it. But this isn't composted here. We had to get that out. Okay, well, I mean, that's certainly something we need to take a look at.
Okay,
Yeah.
you wanna discuss it, and see, get back to us and see
Yeah,
what you think
sure.
about it?
Yeah.
And get that to the next step, and,
Okay. All right. We'll do that.
well, good idea, Carl.
Just wondering why we kept him around.
Now we know why you get the.
He'll want to raise.
Well, they want a checkmate table at Carl Miller, P.E.
Aren't you glad you come up with this idea, Carl?
Checks in the mail.
You take this abuse all the time.
Yeah.
He's got broad
Even before he
shoulders.
came down there.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at that, and we'll get back with you.
All right.
Appreciate
All
it.
right,
All right,
thank you.
thanks for that for us.
Yep.
Thank you, Carl, appreciate it.
Thanks, Carl. Bill, thank you.
Yes, okay.
You get it back. Let me know if I need.
I guess we'll recess.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything this morning? I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.